Me, the Gabby Cabby, on SRB Radio in association with Griffiths Clothing, and joining me today is Jason Edge from the Electric Stars. How are you, mate?
I'm not too bad. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm all right. All the better for linking up with you and listening to your wonderful music that I find so inspiring. So let's talk about how you guys got together and a little bit of background information, your influences, etc.
Yeah, well, before I get on to that, I just want to tell everybody that it's sun shining in Manchester, so that alone is inspirational, let alone the music.
I agree.
It's a rare thing, but yeah, it's beaming down on us today in Manchester. The Electric Stars, yeah, we're basically a bunch of like-minded guys, really.
Yeah.
We're all in various bands around Manchester, and you know what it's like when you're in the band. There's always one person or two people that are not tuned into the same sort of stuff. So we kind of all knew each other, and it was a case of we gravitated towards our own record collections, and we looked at what we all had, you know, common ground, and it was all there: Stones, Faces, Kinks, Who, Bowie, Bolan, and you put it all together, and it's basically a great rock and roll sound. And we just said, look, instead of messing about in these other bands, let's do it. So we created the Electric Stars, went into the studio, and recorded our first album, which was called Sonic Candy Soul. And then we touted that around, and we had some really good meetings with people, some very positive conversations with the likes of Eddie Pillar, Acid Jazz, and so on. And we ended up releasing it with Detour Records, and that's run by a guy called Dizzy Holmes, and he's fantastic. He's a believer in great original guitar music, and he put the thing out. He did really well. We got some wonderful reviews, and that was kind of like the beginning, really, the birth of the band. 5-6 years ago now.
Mhm. I'm loving because it's great getting the releases out, but the videos as well, and you have some wonderful videos. Who produces those?
Yeah, the videos. We've tried hard to get the visuals to match the music. It's very important because we've all got our heroes, and as I said, you know, we were very focused with the sound of the band. We also wanted to be quite focused with the image. So we've always tried to have this almost like psychedelic swirl of a mix and a blend within the band. So when it came time to releasing the first single on Detour, which was I Want You, we got a guy involved who at the time was just setting up his own video company, and he came on board and did a video for us. And as soon as we explained the lyrics and what the song was about, he instantly drew up this storyboard within like a day, and it was absolutely spot on for what we wanted. And his company's called Cosmic Joke. They were fantastic to such a degree that we got them to do the next song, Stoned Again. He did the same thing again, which was like a black and white video, and it's a bit more studio based, but again, it suits perfectly. His company went on to do bigger and better things, and I think they're based in London now. But we've always tried to go with people, if we can, to do things that reflect the band. And it's difficult because, you know, bands like us, we don't really have a big budget, so there's never any money in the pot. But we always try to give as much effort to the visuals as we do to the sound of the band and the songwriting, you know.
I agree, and I think it's so important. But when you're saying you don't have big budgets, you know, that video, Between the Street and the Stars, I think it's a wonderful, wonderful song, and we played it a lot on the Biscuit Boy show. You know, that video and that song is as strong as anything I've ever heard in my life.
Well, do you know what? Bizarrely, we filmed that video in Estonia. So what you're watching when you see the video is we're basically in a nightclub in Estonia, and then we're on top of the tallest hotel in Tallinn, in Estonia, and then we're just basically running around the place. I'm still not quite sure how we managed to pull that off, to be honest. We did a couple of gigs while we were over there as well, but yeah, we filmed a video in Estonia for Between the Streets and the Stars, and I'm really proud of the song because when it was written, obviously it was one of the last, I think it was one of the last songs to be written for Sonic Candy Soul, along with I Want You. In fact, I Want You and 136 were written in America when it was over there, not with the Electric Stars, it was in a previous band. And the idea was already beginning to flow for the Electric Stars. But those songs are written in America, Between the Streets and the Stars, back in the UK. And I think that sound that we've got there, that's the Electric Star sound. It's that combination of freak beat, post-mod, psychedelia, and there's like a groove to it. We're very interested in rhythms, and that's because we're probably obsessed with dance music, black music, rhythm and blues, soul music, and it comes out in the grooves that we've got. So Between the Streets and the Stars is definitely a popular live favourite. We always put down well when we play gigs,
And another one that I absolutely love as well, The Only Lover Left Alive. What did you do to the other ones?
It's you have songwriters. You have songs that kick around for a long time.
Yeah.
Other ones are brand new, and straight away they go into the mix. And I'll tell you about the new single in a while, which is very similar to that. But The Only Lover Left Alive is a song that's been around for quite a while. When we got to the point where we needed to write a second album, I looked at songs that were already written, the songs that were part written, and the songs that I was writing. One of them that had been kicking around was that song, and it had different titles in previous lives and so on, but the actual title of the new album is going to be Velvet Elvis, The Only Lover Left Alive.
Got you.
And it's a bit of a bizarre title, but there's a theme that runs through it lyrically, and this character, Velvet Elvis, has come out of Sonic Candy Soul, and there's a very sort of distorted sexual vision of a part of the album, and that particular song, The Only Lover Left Alive, is it, really. So yeah, it's quite a vicious song. It's a bit of a rip-roaring rock and roller with a big sort of psychedelic kick to it as well. But yeah, it's another song that we're very pleased with. Even though it's been kicking around a while, it's reinvented itself, and probably it's exactly where it should be right now.
So the Velvet Elvis, is that your alter ego?
You know what? I'm not really sure, because the album is very, very close to being finished now.
Yeah.
All the songs are written. But to cut a long story short, Sonic Candy Soul was the four of us exercising our rock and roll demons, in the fact that we literally poured everything into the melting pot. So within that melting pot, you've got plenty of, like I said before, Stone, Two Kinks, but there's also bits of Velvet Underground, there's bits of the Beach Boys in there, Arthur Lee and Love, there's a little bit of glam in there as well, plenty of soul, and we mixed it all up, and it came out as Sonic Candy Soul. And the upshot of that is, in my head, when I was writing the second album, the story of the band that wrote Sonic Candy Soul is they make it big, and they go on this huge tour, and everybody thinks they're wonderful, and the excesses of being successful result in Velvet Elvis.
Yeah.
And it kind of, the second album is going to be darker lyrically and musically as well. It's a tougher trip to take. It's still a trip, not that about it, 'cause that's the kind of band we are, but it's a tougher trip, it's a darker trip, because the band have had the excesses of pop superstardom, etc., etc., and with Velvet Elvis, it kind of gets a little bit extravagant, shall we say?
Yeah, a little bit.
So yeah, you could say it's the band's alter ego,
Yeah.
and the bloated excesses of what happened after the success. I wish you would have had the success.
You should,
Yeah,
and there's still time.
Well, we all live in hope.
Yeah.
We all do the lottery, so there's a chance.
Let's have a name check of the band and the dynamics while we're talking.
Yeah, on guitar
Yeah.
it's Andy B, and Andy's a guitarist he's a stunning guitarist, Andy. He never ceases to surprise me with what he does. He's the kind of guy that, you're working on a song and I'll say, you know what? Something that's just a little bit Dave Davis. And instantly, he's picked up a guitar and plugged it into an amp, and he's playing something that would be the kind of thing that Dave would do, but in an Andy B style.
Yeah.
And then I'll say, I think we might need something a bit more Townsendy for this. And he's swapped his amp and he's swapped his guitar, and he's coming in with something that's a bit more crunchy and a bit more, sort of spiky. And he's got a wonderful appreciation of other guitarists. And I'm talking about great guitarists now, the likes of the Claptons and Creams and Jeff Beck and Ronnie Wood. So he's fantastic, Andy. He really is. Great to write songs with. I'll come in with the song, and if I need a riff, bang, he's got the riff.
Yeah.
It's great. Keith on bass. Keith's like my soul brother, because I've been with Keith longest. We were in the band together before we met the rest of the boys and the stars, became stars. And Keith has been all over the place. We actually lived in Japan for 3 months, just Keith and myself playing acoustic gigs all over Tokyo and Yokohama. So he's been around the block with me, and he knows what it's like to play for your bag of chips, So he's a good guy, and he's a big believer in rhythm, which I think is where we get a lot of these groovy bass lines from, Johnny was the last guy in. Johnny was in various bands and knew Andy, and he'd been bobbing around, again, frustrated, disillusioned, and he wanted something to get his teeth into. And Johnny's, he's a big believer in the Ringo Starr school of drumming, in the fact that Johnny will listen to the tune and he'll drum to suit the tune. He's not one of those guys who will just drum on it and do what he thinks is right. He listens to the melodies, he listens to the songs. Again, it's fantastic when you're songwriting, because you've got people who appreciate melody and lyrics. So we've got a really good combination. Other people drift in and out the band as well. We've had other people helping us out. Louise Turner will guest on vocals, as she is doing at the next gig in Ireland, which is coming up at the weekend. And then other people fill in when we do keyboards and stuff like that. But the core of the band is the four of us. That's the Electric Stars.
Now, you're going to be going on tour. I know you've done the March of the Mods, and you just alluded to you're in Ireland at the weekend. Music Mania 2017 with Daz Bradley. And we've got to give Daz a shout out, and to our mate Lewis, because without Griffiths Clothing and Lewis, he links in so many people and so many projects. And you're also touring as well with a good mate of ours, Terry Shaughnessy. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, we got involved with Daz Bradley, I don't know, I think it's about 6, maybe even more, 8 months ago. We knew him because we played his event Music Mania about 5 years ago when it was just starting out, and we kind of always kept in touch but never been able to do anything else together. And then one day we were looking for management, because it's really hard to find someone who believes in the band, and I had a conversation with Daz, and Daz says, I've always liked you lot. And I said, well, we've always liked you, but we've only ever seen you once, So we ended up having a few conversations, and we got together, and he said, I've been toying with this idea of getting hold of a band, but it has to be a band that I believe in, and I believe in you. And we said, well, we've been looking for someone to manage us, but it's got to be someone that understands us, and we think you understand us. So we sat down around the table, everybody had a really good vibe, and Daz has been sort of running the ship now for quite a few months, and he's managed to put together this tour at the end of the year, sort of starting autumn time, October, November. And he said, if we're going to go out and do something, we need to do it with another band that's got the same vision, i.e. a great rock and roll band with great songs, dedicated, and they will put on a show. And I said, well, you know what it's going to be. There's only one out there for us, and that's Terry and the Universal. Yeah. So it was a match made in heaven, really. I can't believe we're going on tour with a bunch of Scousers, and I'm sure Terry will say, can't believe he's going on tour with a bunch of Manx, but we will make it work, because, mutually we love music, and we love great music, so it's going to be a great gig for sure.
And I'm guessing with you guys, October, the new football season would have started. And both of you are Reds, one from Manchester and one from Liverpool. So there are going to be fireworks on tour, as well as if you got a. I mean, it's not a local derby, but two of, I would suggest, two of the greatest clubs in the world and two of the biggest clubs in England.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if we're going to talk sensibly about it, and I am going to talk sensibly, I'm not going to put on my my United goggles. Look, Liverpool set the benchmark in the 70s and 80s, and we raised the bar, obviously, over the last few years by pushing things a little bit more. Going back before that, with us, United were the first English team to have a profile outside the country. So between United and Liverpool, we've basically pushed it and pushed it and pushed it. And any other football clubs who think they're in with a shout, they can just do one.
Yeah.
Because the reason that Liverpool hate United and United hate Liverpool is because we both believe we're the best.
Yep.
And we've got a claim to that. Liverpool used to be the best. At the moment, it's us. And before Liverpool were the best, it was us. So the battle is there in terms of the fact that they've got 18 league titles, we've got 20. They've got 5 European Cups, we've got 3. We've got 12 FA Cups, they've got 7. It's endless, you know what I mean? And if you put the two of them together and the amount of tin pots that they've won, it's just an outrageous amount of trophies and success. So, yeah, that's why the rivalry is there, because Liverpool have a wonderful history on the football field, and with music, and with fashion and culture. Not quite as good as Manchester music and fashion and culture, but we and Teddy will discuss that endlessly when we're on tour, I'm sure.
The local music scene in Manchester, what's it like these days? Because as you said, fashion and football, and Manchester to many has always been perceived the third city in the UK, but to a lot of people in that northern powerhouse region, Manchester's always been the second city, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, look, there's great bands come from big cities just because there's the opportunities, because you've got a lot of people, you've got a lot of venues, you've got a lot of rehearsal rooms, and you've got a lot of music shops. So when you've got a bigger city, you're going to get more opportunities for great rock and roll bands. And let's face it, the Midlands have had some fantastic bands. I mean, a lot of my favourites have come from down there. I'm a huge Slade fan. I absolutely adore The Move. The Move are one of my favourite bands. And on the back of that, you've got ELO and so on, you know, and it's endless really. But Manchester, we've always managed to have things that are at the cutting edge. So yes, we've had a lot of great bands, but we've always had some really cutting edge stuff in the middle of the amount of bands. We've always had some cutting edge stuff, and Liverpool as well. You know, London's always going to have the majority because it's just too big. Can't compete with the size of it. But I think Liverpool, Manchester, Birmingham, some great, some great rock and roll bands, great songwriters as well.
Totally agree. You're not going to get an argument from me. Let's have a shout out for your social media sites and your websites, because people are going to be going, Gabby, how can we look up? How can we hook up? And how can we really get involved with the Electric Star? So give us a shout out to them, Jace.
Yeah, it's quite simple really. I mean, these days, if you've not got a Facebook and a Twitter and a website and so on, you're missing out. So pretty much all the usual places, if you just put in the Electric Stars in the search engine. As far as I know, we were, a few weeks ago, and I think we still are, the only band called the Electric Stars. So if you do a search, you're only going to find us anyway. But yeah, Facebook is very active, Twitter, website. There's probably an Instagram, but I don't know whether anyone's on that at the moment. But yeah, you'll find us. We're dead easy to find. There's lots on YouTube. We're on Spotify. We're on Deezer. You can buy our music from Amazon, and obviously from Detour Records itself, where Dizzy will be very, very glad to sell you a CD of ours.
And also, while we're talking about image, because you're right, image, it has so much to do with it. It's no good having a band that's got a great sound, and you look at them, you just think, do you know what? It doesn't match. Your image matches your sound, and I've got to say, blonde really suits you.
Yeah, I've always been one for messing around. I suppose that's my obsession with Bowie and Bolan and so on. You know, I've got a large affection for the late 60s, early 70s. Well, the four of us have. Look, the Electric Stars are basically a band that are slightly out of time. If we would have been around in '69, we probably would have been megastars. But our obsession with that period, and let's face it, it was a very colourful period visually, and with the attitude of people, things were changing. It was a wonderful time of experimentation. So I've always been one to go for things that are colourful and bright, and at the moment, yeah, my hair is peroxide blonde. Yeah, but it's important. I mean, I'm a big fan of, if you're going to see a band and you really want to be impressed, then yeah, you need them to have the songs and, you know, do a great live show. But there's nothing worse than going to see a band and they've got, like, you know, a pair of overalls on or jeans and trainers. I wear that when I'm walking the dog. If I'm going to pay £10 to go and see someone, blow me away. Look cool, sound cool, act cool. So we've never really been a band to just turn up in our jeans and trainers, and that's a bit lame, you know.
Totally agree. Again, no argument there. New single, when's that going to be dropping?
Yeah, we spoke about it before. It's called Sunshine, and it's hopefully going to tie in with this wonderful weather that I'm still looking at the moment in Manchester, which will probably last about another 10 minutes. But it's called Sunshine, and it was one of those ones that we wrote very, very quickly, and instantly it made its way onto Velvet Elvis. And we're in the middle of recording and releasing that, so I'm expecting that to be out for summer. And it's just fantastic. Everywhere we play it, and we played at Tamworth that weekend. As soon as we played the song, you can see people singing the chorus after the song's like halfway through. So we know it's a great song. We know it's typical Electric Stars, catchy and groovy at the same time. So we're getting it out for summer. No doubt for 3 months of solid rain. But it's called Sunshine, and you'll be seeing it on Detour very soon.
And the album, when will that be dropping, and who's producing and engineering it?
Velvet Elvis, the only lover left alive, and that's going to be coming out just before the tour. Again on Detour. The tour starts in October, so I'd expect Velvet Elvis to like late September-ish. If we get our marketing right, that's when it should come out.
Fantastic. Jace, can I wish you all the very best going forward? We're going to keep in touch. We're going to be playing your records. And can I thank you so much for your time, mate?
No problem. Thank you for the support. We need people like you to keep the flame burning, man.
In the olden days, we had real radio. Now all the radio is underground, but I'm loving the underground scene because it inspires me like nothing before.
Well said, mate. Well said.
Cheers, pal.
Thank you very much, and we'll see each other soon.
Top man. Cheers, Jace. Thank
Cheers,
you.
mate. Bye.
Bye-bye now.